here. I'm a design team member for Stamp Anything. Welcome to another episode of Fannie Friday. If you're new here, new to me, new to us, hello, welcome. Every Friday after the monthly release videos, I do a project featuring that month's release. So last Friday, I started a card using January's release, which is a 50s, kind of 50s, 60s diner theme. And last week we made the diner. I said this week would be part 2 where we do the rest of it, but I'm actually going to break this into one more video. So this is going to be actually part 2 of 3. And the only reason why I'm doing that is because if I colored 3 chibis and try to do the rest of it in a video, and I try to keep these right at 30 minutes, you would literally get like 1 minute of coloring, and I don't want to rush it that much. So in today's video, I'm going to color Arnold and Carol. So Arnold is our fry cook and Carol is our cute little car hop. So that's today. And then next week in the next Fannie Friday, I will color Peggy and we'll make the rest of the fun items that came with the diner builder die. So this is going up on Friday, January 27th. Tomorrow, January 28th, in the Facebook group, starting I think at 9 a.m. Eastern, we are having our love event. So all of the design team members have asked Anne or told Anne what kind of stamp we wanted her to create. And all of us have videos using those stamps. And the cool thing about this event is tomorrow on Saturday, January 28th, all of the images are free. So they're going to be for sale after that. But tomorrow, if you join the event, all of the images will be free. That's going to be in our Facebook group, and that is linked in the description box down below. So make sure you check that out. So yeah, so tomorrow, January 28th, I believe it starts at 9, maybe 9:15 Eastern time. We are going to have an entire day of videos, crafting, etc. I think mine goes live at 6:30 p.m. Oh, I need to make sure that's, oh, I'm in Central Time. I better make sure what time that is. Hold, please. Let me look. Don't let me lie to you. Because that would be, yeah, 9 a.m. Eastern. So mine is 5:30 Central. Whew, I'm glad I looked that up. So yeah, 9 a.m. Eastern, and there are 9 different videos, 9 different images that will all be free tomorrow. So anywho, if you haven't already, I hope you'll consider subscribing. We just hit 600 subscribers. Thank you very, very much. We really do appreciate it. We are trying to grow and not only our YouTube channel, but also our Instagram. So you will be seeing more reels, more videos, etc. So stick around. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up. And yeah, I'm not gonna jabber anymore. Let's head over to the craft table, and I'm gonna share with you how I colored Arnold and Carol. All right, friends, I didn't record me stamping because you guys have seen me do that before, but I wanted to share with you how I pick my markers. So for Arnold, I knew that I wanted him to have khaki pants. I thought khaki pants and a white shirt that kind of screamed quintessential, like, fast food uniform. So I have a hex chart from Sandy Allnock, and it is probably one of my most used tools when it comes to coloring. So I'll kind of pick some colors based on the hex chart, and then I will lay them down on the paper that I'm using and kind of see the blend and see how they work together. And that's really how I choose my markers. So you are seeing my process in real life. Well, it's sped up a little bit, but it's basically real life. So once I have the colors figured out, I'm going to go ahead and start coloring his pants. I always color darkest to lightest. And so I'm going to start with the E44, and I'm going to put that under kind of his apron and then down the inside of what is his right leg and down the inside of what is his left leg. And then I'm going to go over that in small circular motions with the next marker in line. So I have a dark tone, a mid-tone, and a light tone. For the most part, I color with only 3 markers. You're going to see a little bit later when we go to Carol. I actually use 4 for her skin tone. But for the most part, I find that 3 markers is enough. So I go darkest to lightest, and then I do it again. So those are Arnold's pants. For his hair, I am using E59, 57, and 55. I will have all of the markers listed in the description box down below, along with a direct link to this month's release, and also the Facebook group so you can join for the love event. For his hair, there's not a lot of it. We do get some of it, but there's not a lot of it. And for hair, I just like the flick. And again, I start with the darkest and I move on to the lightest. His hair actually turned out lighter than I thought it would. I initially was going to make him have a little bit of a darker skin tone, but once I realized just how bright and light his hair was, I went ahead and gave him a lighter skin tone. So there's not a lot of hair, but I flick from the top and the bottom, and then I go from darkest to lightest, and then make sure that I go back over it with the lightest. For his skin tone, I'm using E33, 21, and 30. Since he's wearing glasses, I've gone under his glasses with the darkest color, and I've gone kind of under his little bang swoop with the darkest color. And then again, I go in circular motions when I blend out. So I touch the other color with the new marker and just kind of blend that out. And then I realized that he would probably have a little bit of a shadow above the glasses as well. So did that. And then I colored in the rest of his forehead with the lightest color. And again, you'll see later that this dries back much lighter. So he does have a pretty light skin tone. And again, I do this and then I go back through. For his glasses, like around his eyes, I went ahead and used the lightest color, and that's because I'm going to be going over that with a very, very, very light BG and blue-green to give the glasses just a little bit of hint that they're actually glass. Now, real-life glasses don't have that hue unless you have a special pair, like if you're someone who maybe is dyslexic, etc. You can get different kind of lenses that help with that. But for the most part, a person's lenses are clear. But when it's something like this and you want to have it look like it's actually glass, then you're going to want to add just a little bit. Or you could leave it like really light and then add some highlights with a white gel pen that would make it look like it's reflecting and it's white. For his glasses, I went with red. I don't know that they would have had red glasses back then, but this is my dude and I can do whatever I want to. And here you can see that I'm adding that BG quadruple zero, and it's just, I believe it's quadruple zero. It's either triple zero or quadruple, and it's just to give it a little hint that it's triple zero, that's a hint of glass. For his glasses, again, I don't know if they had red frames back in the day, but I wore red frames this year and I really liked them. And now I'm in navy frames. So yeah. I really wanted to draw off of the color palette that I used on the card. So we have aqua, we have red, we have coral, we have green. So you're going to see some of those colors repeated in the characters that I've colored. So as I mentioned, if you missed it, the card of this was created last week. It's a trifold card and it's a scene card, and I love it so very much. I always love it when a plane comes together. So I went ahead and colored the glasses in R46 and R35, and then I colored in his little bow tie with R46, and then gave his little tongue R20. Once I've done that, I'm going to bring in some BGs for his apron and his hat. Oh, first we got to color the little tape, and I just used E30 for that. So again, for the apron and for the hat, I almost colored this full on aqua, and I was like, Misty, it probably wouldn't have looked like that. But I wanted it to look white. And one thing I've mentioned time and time again is I don't like the look of white that's shaded with gray or brown. And you can absolutely 100% do that if you want to. It's just not pleasing to my eye. It always makes it look like it's dingy and dirty, and not just the one area that has been shaded, the whole entire piece. So I did consider, making this a little bit grungier because he is cooking hamburgers and some French fries. But at the end of the day, I decided, this isn't realism. This isn't true to life. So I went ahead and just kept it where it's shaded, but not fully opaque with the aqua. So I used BG11, BG10, BG300, and BG400. So BG000, not 400, BG triple zero, BG quadruple zero, Mr. Brune. And then later I'll come fill in that line on his hat with BG32. I almost wanted to make him look like he worked at In-N-Out. I don't know if you guys have In-N-Out where you live, but they came to Texas. I'm in the Dallas area, and we eat at In-N-Out fairly regularly. It's one of my husband's favorite fast food restaurants just because everything, it's never frozen. Their French fries are literally a potato that gets thrown into the fryer. A lot of people don't like them, but he loves them. And they're pretty good. I like the animal fries, which are fries with cheese and their kind of Thousand Island dressing. Oh, so good. But they wear white, all white. And then they have a red apron. And then they have their cute little hats that have, I think they have hats with palm trees. I can't remember, but yeah. So I went ahead and colored his shoes, and then I'm bringing in a silver kind of permanent marker to color in a spatula. Okay, so here's Carol, and again, I used 4 different colors for her skin. We have E39, 15, 13, and 11, and then I gave her some blush with R22 and actually used that to color her tongue as well. For the darkest part of her hair, that would be kind of where her hair swoops at the top where her bangs would be. So I used E39 there. And then for the kind of around the perimeter of her face, I used E15. And then I'm bringing in E13 to kind of give it a bit more depth. And then we're doing 11 for the rest of the face. And I did it this way, and I'll go back and add a bit more like I normally do. The one thing, I colored this image. I had colored a different image. This was the next day from Arnold. And I was running into issues with her face. I didn't want her face to be super, super deep. But I also didn't want it to look like it wasn't blended. So this combination of markers worked out really well for me. And I really like how her skin turned out. You guys will have to let me know what you think in the comments. I would be really interested to hear what you have to think. So I'm bringing in the pink and going over her cheeks, and then going back over that with the E11, which is my lightest color. And then I'm going to color her like underneath her neck. I went ahead and put the darkest color. On her arms, I'm doing the darkest color toward her body. And then for her legs, underneath her skirt, the front of what is her right leg, and then the back of what is her left leg. And then we just kind of build it. And I believe I only used 3 colors. Yeah, I only used 3 colors for this. It's just, there's not enough room to do all 4. And I just wanted to make sure that the middle part of her face stayed really bright. For her uniform, I went ahead and put her in red, and I'm using R46, 27, and 14, which is not the red color story, like the red blend that I normally used. But I wanted to bring in a little bit of that coral, because if you remember, I used coral and red to make it look like it was neon with paper. And I wanted to make sure that we brought in a little bit more of that coral. And I have a completely different color scheme in mind for Peggy. So I went ahead and brought in that R14, which brings in a bit of that coral. So even though it's just shading and it's not in your face, in real life, the image it's done really well. And you can see it when we get to the hat, how much that coral kind of stands out, but it doesn't stand out in a bad way. So So I left her collar and her two cuffs on her sleeves white. And then I am going to do the same thing I did for Arnold's apron when we get there. So for the hat, on the inside, that would be kind of dark because that is where it's kind of folded. So I went ahead and put the darkest there. And then for the rest of her hat, I'm pulling in the darkest from the side. So the middle part of this image will be what's the lightest, whereas the top part of it, the top of it will be the lightest. And you can see the coral a bit more here. And like I said, I like to do darkest to lightest, so we'll come back and add a bit more. But you can definitely see that coral here, but you can also see that there is a fold at the top of that hat. And then we kind of blend out from there. I will definitely be using this red combo in the future. I actually really loved it. And it's not like Christmas cherry, like Christmas kind of dark red. This is like a bright cherry red, and I really, really liked it. I just used, I want to say that was E51 for the plate. And then I'm again using BG11, BG10, and then I'm going to bring in the colorless blender to kind of blend this out because I didn't want it to, again, I didn't want it to look aqua. I wanted it to kind of feel like it was white. Then we're going to move on to her skates, and I used E59 for that, and I just colored them all one color. And then for her hair, I went ahead and pulled in my toner grays. Normally I would use cool gray. I even considered the neutral grays, but I wanted to play with my toner grays. They don't get enough use. So I'm using T8, T6, T4, and then just a little bit of T2. I ended up not using it quite as much. And once again, I'm just doing some flicking motions. So where I've stopped with the darkest color is where there is a bend in her hair. So that little part that curls outward would have a highlight, and the little bit behind it would have some darkness. So, and I think coloring hair is kind of very personal. Style is kind of personal, I should say. So I do not like a really bright highlight. Like some people would leave it like this and call that their highlight and move on. I don't like the look of that. And again, it's personal preference. It can be beautiful, and I'll see it on somebody else's and I'm like, oh, that looks really, really pretty. But when I do it on my own, like here, even this, I was like, oh, this is too bright. I need to, tone it down a little bit. I want it to look like there is some highlight there, yes, but I don't like it to be a stark contrast. So that's why I go ahead and go back over it. And here you can see that I'm kind of coloring behind that roll, and I guess not a roll, Misty, a curl. And I just left it the two darkest colors. For the bottom of her hair, I'm flicking up again. And like I said, I believe that curl, there would be a highlight there and there would be a shadow behind it. So you don't have to get super technical when it comes to hair like this. But it just kind of helps you visualize where the light would be coming from. And you guys know I'm not a person that pays a whole lot of attention to a light source, especially when I'm coloring characters like this. I always just assume that the light is coming from the top down. So yeah. So for the other side, I'm flicking in the direction that the hair is going. And again, starting with that T8, bringing in that T6, coming back with the T4, and then just a little bit of that T2. I love that it gives her hair looks shiny and healthy, but it's not a really stark highlight. And it's all, coloring anyway, it's all up to style and preference. There's so many different styles. People shade differently. At the end of the day, you have to do what looks good to you. And this is how I like her to look. So once I do that and we get her a tongue, we're just about done. I am going to bring in a Micron brush marker to go over her right eye. I didn't do a very good job, or her left eye, excuse me. I didn't do a really good job of stamping that. And whenever I've not stamped well enough, I'll bring in a pen and just kind of fill it in. So that's it. That's Arnold, that's Carol. I really love how they turned out. I took a picture. They look so cute together, and I am so excited to see both of these characters on that diner card. So if you are interested, don't forget to subscribe. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of these two chibis, and I will see you again in my next video. Bye for now.